So, starting out a little early today. And so, hope folks can join. I'm going to a baseball game today, so start a little bit early here. But if you don't catch it live, hopefully you can watch the replay here. So I'm going to do a little playing to start us out. And then I'll talk about some things I've been releasing lately. Upcoming content. Things like that. All right, I'm going to mute my mic as I jam here a little bit on some blues and E flat. Okay, so when it comes to, let's say, jazz, blues, I think I see the problem here. Let's see if I can fix my volume. So I'm coming through a little bit better. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, I was wondering why the volume was a little low there on the mic. Yeah, so when it comes to, let's say, jazz blues, oftentimes, as far as keys are concerned, we have key of B flat is probably the most often used keys, but E flat, I just played it there, and F are also really kind of commonly used. And in jazz history, we have a lot of horn instrumentation or brass instrumentation. So those are keys that kind of lay out fairly naturally on those instruments. So playing in those keys is really helpful for us to work with those musicians who play, say, trumpet, saxophone, trombone. But on guitar, what key of G kind of lays out nice with our register and tends to be something that lays out pretty well on our instrument. So be able to play it right in G, and then also really all keys, but we're going to have a lot of blues in B flat, when it comes to jazz blues. So I just released Sandu by Clifford Brown. He was a trumpet player, of course, so he played that in E flat blues. So there I'm starting out with a little improvisation on E flat blues. So a couple of things that I've got coming up here. Working on Stella by Starlight arrangement, and I've been planning this for a couple of weeks, but just because the last few weeks I've been a little bit busy, I haven't come up with a solid arrangement yet. So this week that may happen. I may also was thinking also about doing Song for My Father, which I've done before on the channel, but was thinking about redoing that one as well. So we'll see how things progress. But yeah, I had a little bit of a recital from my local studio yesterday, and I think that went really, really quite well. And yeah, we had many individuals playing, and then we also had a kind of a full band a little later on. Okay, well, I am going to improvise a little bit on Stella by Starlight, just kind of loosely playing around with the changes and chord voicings and maybe some single lines. If you have any questions about anything that I'm doing or playing, let me know. Sometimes it is a little bit hard to recall the exact moment of a chord that's in question, but let me know if you have any. Hi, Eric. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. So, probably going to be a pretty quiet Sunday live stream today because of the early start. Heading out to the ball game today. Orioles are like playing the Royals, and weather is certainly a factor today. So, Eric, I hope that I covered a little bit of the Stella by Starlight from the last time on those voicings. That one's just a really great tune to explore voicings on, and single lines as well. A lot to work with there. It just has a wonderful way about it, moving from chord to chord. So some interesting stretches there. I think this is kind of a cool voicing. I think you were mentioning some stretches, and this one is kind of a real good stretch. This works on let's say a B flat major 7. So if you have this one, I think most of us are aware of. So this would be B flat major 7, and this is kind of, you get the high 2 notes of that same voicing, but you get these kind of sound like suspensions, but in a sense they're not really suspensions because we do have the third, so it's more like 6 and a 9 added to the major 7. And if you notice, some of the voicings I'm doing very kind of similar things with that idea, which is taking something that might be an inversion, like first inversion of B flat major 7, and then taking some of the notes that are maybe more neutral and more consonant, and replacing them with notes that just have a little more attention on them. So notice if you play the first inversion of B flat major 7, which is kind of a stretch too, and replace this note with the C, then right, kind of looks like a D minor 7, but in the context of the chords, you might be thinking of B flat, then it's kind of B flat major 9. Right? Mateus, welcome. How's it going? Thanks for joining. And I'll be on the vertical as well as horizontal live stream. Eric says it was a really nice set of movement. Thanks for the explanation. Yeah, you're most welcome. And so that's one thing I'm doing there a little bit when I'm kind of noodling around earlier on the changes, is just kind of exploring the movement, and in some sense trying to create minimal movement in the chord progression. So this is a fun way to kind of gain control of what you're doing. So let's say we go through a couple changes here. Right at the beginning, say we have E minor 7 flat 5. Okay, and then we're going to, let's say A7. I'm going to play A7 flat 9 there. So when I play E diminished, I may still be thinking in the context of the A, kind of imagining I have a bass player with me or something like that. So notice how little changes there. So you get E minor 7 flat 5, and then kind of the appearance of E diminished 7, right? So really just changing one note there. But the bass notes maybe going like So you do get a little dissonance down here. It gets a little crunchy with the lower the flat 9 is, the crunchier the sound might be with the bass note. And then if I could say, okay, well, how about C minor? Let's see if I could change just a minimal amount of notes. Right. So then I'm just going, actually keeping these two notes the same and then just moving these two down a half step. So it's kind of a nice practice in voice leading to follow that. And then you could say, okay, well, go to we go to an F9, right? And then you can play that, right? And then you could say, okay, maybe F minor 9, and then B flat 13, right? So a lot of fun that you can have there, just taking your voices and seeing, okay, let them kind of cascade. They generally cascade downward and register, and move along like that. Okay, Eric, my question is, this type of skill seems so far away, I think, for most players. How to plan your study to reach mastery, to let stuff come out spontaneously. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's one challenge I kind of face too, myself, just trying to kind of throw some ideas out there and not sure, excuse me, if they're going to land or how they'll be received or understood. So great question. I would say take the voicings. You take like a single voicing, like a B flat major 7, and of course know the drop 3. I remember always knowing this kind of chord, but not really associating with this concept of drop 3. So putting a label on it, you have you're basically taking a voicing and dropping this note down an octave, and that would be the third of that original voicing, just to summarize that. But anyway, we're labeling this drop 3, and this is a drop 2 type voicing. I do have a video explaining all of that, I think, on the channel somewhere. So anyway, knowing inversions of those two types of chords, yeah, exactly. So to play them spontaneously, you really have to kind of work through the conscious thought of, okay, how are they constructed, and how does all this work, and then get it to a level where you can spontaneously think about it, or not think about it. So when you're doing drop 3 type voicings, these are really great for comping. I use them a lot when I play in the big band kind of context. And even in the small group kind of context, I will still use kind of drop 3s, but I'll pare them down in kind of a different way sometimes, where I might strip away or play more notes or less notes, or fewer notes, I should say. So anyway, knowing the inversions of these types of chords, being able to maybe start with first inversion, and some of these are not going to be used as many times as others. It all kind of depends on your context. So, but going through your drop 3 type voicings, which one way of looking at it is you're going to skip over a string, and generally going to use the string set of 6 through 2, and you're going to skip over string 5. So you have these kind of 4-note voicings. go through a major 7 and then learn your inversions of these chords. You get some kind of pretty sounds too, and be able to play them in 3 inversion types, and then of course the root note. And then what's kind of cool about that too is you can kind of create some motion in your chord progression, whatever it happens to be. Right, so it all depends on the tune and the chord progression. And then kind of take and do the same thing with the drop 2 type voicings, where you might be on the middle 4 string sets, but these are also very practical on the top 4 string sets, the string set of top 4 strings or the middle 4 strings. And it gets does it get, a little less practical on the low 4, just because of register and stuff. But just to be thorough, you might want to try to do that. But try to do that and go through your inversions of these chords, and maybe go up and down through the inversions. Probably the best way to do it is really kind of, rather than going into an encyclopedia or a book, is really try to sort out, okay, first inversion, I'm going to start from the note just above the lowest note. So if that's B flat, so the first inversion would be the next note up in whatever you're working with. And you can have inversions of other things as well. Okay, Matthias asks, or says, I'm new to your channel. I'm from Germany, and I like to play the guitar, and I also have the chance to improve my English. Yeah, very good. Very cool. It's really awesome that folks from all over the world would join in and work on guitar. And yeah, English is good too. I studied German briefly in high school as well. So foreign language, that's been really challenging for me personally. That's awesome if you're working at that. But music and guitar is really it's a very language like, or you might even say it is kind of in a sense a language. When we play phrases and we have kind of conversations, especially in jazz improvisation. All right, I'm going to do a little playing. Maybe I'll focus more on single line, on Stella by Starlight again. And let me also mute my mic during this period. Okay, yeah, so exactly. Playing, kind of spontaneously, kind of um, pulling from the resources of what one has practiced and try to uh, gain there. Um, so, playing like that. Uh, yeah, it takes some time, but on the flip side of that, I think, um, playing kind of what and the pulling from the resources that you already have, and enjoying that too, there's always something to try to strive towards. Music is so vast, and kind of decoding the neck and working with like I said, the language, and maybe some of the technical and things, and trying to get that all so intertwined that you can kind of step away and play, a little bit. So we got a request for Leonard Skinner. I have recorded a little bit of that. I'm not really doing so many like kind of requests, but maybe a quick mini little lesson. Play a little bit of a D, and then C, and then G, and just kind of do a little, and you could do a little muting. Get back on a little bit. Right. And then we have, let's see if I remember. And then that's one little line that they do in between, and then we have, so sorry, a little sloppy on it right now, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea how to play at least that part. And they have some really cool little lines up here. The guitar's a little out of tune. And then what do we have? I've got some out of tune here, but not so much of a performance there, but maybe just a little through in case you want a quick idea of some of the riffs. What happened to that? Okay. Get in tune here again. It's a really great solo. Speaking of improvisation solos. I mean, I'm sure that was maybe improvised at one point. I think what they did in that band was they would just kind of have different people come up with solos, because they had 3 guitarists, and they would just take the best one by consensus. But it's a really nice solo, which I probably can't play off the top of my head right now, but I have played it before. All right, so yeah, Stella by Starlight. So that's one thing I've got going in the mix. Song for My Father. So those will probably come out in the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure the order which they will, but those are 2 that kind of have in mind. To play on our weekly video, and I think my week is gonna kind of cool down a little bit. So I'm hoping to do a midweek video, and get back to kind of putting some more exercises out on my website. fretprints.com. So check that out. It's just kind of just starting up, really. And but I'm doing some twice a week live streams on there, as well as for lessons and talks on the YouTube channel. So I'm kind of going to both of those locations for those. But there are additional exercises and additional videos on my website too. What else was I gonna mention? Just had another thought of something to discuss. Oh yeah, my midweek video. I think I'm gonna kind of bring that back in to the mix. All right, I would like to encourage folks to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Like and subscribe. Turn on notifications if you would. And yeah, if you need a consultation, coaching session, or just a straight up lesson, I've got some information in the description down below. Eric, I have to head out to do yard work before the rain. Okay. Hope the rain stays away for the O's and Phillies game. Are they playing Phillies? Yeah. So, Phillies are probably playing too. I see what you. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I really hope so too. I haven't been to a game in so long, and I've been really wanting to go. My son's been pretty active in Little League, and now he's doing tournament team, and so this is going to be my first time to a game with him. So it's going to be kind of special for me anyway. He's already been, I think, to an Orioles game. So this is my first time going with him. So hope the weather holds up, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, yeah. So let me think of anything else. Anything else kind of trending out there? Maybe I'll do a little search. What's trending in jazz guitar studies? That's the old Chat GPT. What's trending these days? Last couple of weeks, like I said, I've been kind of getting out of it a little bit, but I'm getting back to it today, starting this week. And oh yeah, I was going to mention too, yeah, I'm really like very close to getting some live playing with backing tracks, which I plan to do here on the Sunday Live. And I have been doing a little bit on some of my member live things. Focus on modern players. Yeah. So yeah, the mix of modern and some of their classic players. Chord melody, gig friendly. That's something I'm actively working towards doing. Yeah, bebop vocabulary. For sure. Yep, we've been kind of covering that. Yeah, these are all things that are really kind of in line with my kind of mission on my channel. Really, doing practical tunes that get called a lot in jam sessions or gigs, and also really straightforward arrangements that folks can kind of take in their own direction. If they like. So yeah, this is pretty up my alley here. So I'm glad I'm kind keeping with what most folks are kind of interested in anyway. Hybrid picking and fingerstyle techniques. Oftentimes on the channel with the lessons and things, I'm doing either finger picking or flat picking, but perhaps more. Maybe I should do so. I do actually play a lot with hybrid picking, so because it's really kind of practical. You don't have to move your pick out of your hand, right, to kind of get a little bit of that the finger style going. So hybrid picking, if you're not aware, use basically 2 fingers. Sometimes I'll even use the 4th, although you're not really expected to do that. But 2 fingers, and then you hold thumb and index with the pick. So why I like doing that at times is for comping, you can really get the notes all at the same time, which sometimes you might want that. With the strum, it's a different sound. Still like it, but it's all depends on what you're after. So strumming versus picking all the strings at the same time. That's kind of a thing with hybrid. But of course, you can also get into a lot of folks ask me to play Stairway to Heaven on these live streams. But that's something you could use for practice. Use hybrid picking, which is likely not what they did, but you could do that to practice it. Do something that is kind of maybe arpeggios or something like that would be a good place to start with that, just to kind of get there. Gear and tone studies. Just gonna kind of go down the line a little bit. The one thing is to play, a solid sound, and be used to playing a solid sound at different tempos, and just try to get the best out of whatever guitar you're playing. That's sort of my take on that. And then as far as warm versus bright, kind of depends on what period of jazz or what kind of subgenre of jazz you're after. Having that kind of tone. Actually, I've got this pretty bright right now. At least on my tone knob here, but rolling it down. No, actually, that's my. Nope, that was my volume knob. I'm sorry, I should know better. All right, there we go. That's a real bright sound, but that could be really good. Little lack of sleep lately. That can be nice in some circumstances. I find when comping, it's nice to be able to cut through a little bit and play a little bit bright, right? To kind of get, because when you are on stage, the bright sounds are really the first to fall off the further you get into your room, right? If you've ever noticed, you can hear bass from a really far distance when you're hearing some music somebody's playing in a car or something like that, or in a concert and hall, and then you're far away, you can hear the bass, but you can't hear much of the treble. So that's a thing for training. If you are playing gigs and stuff, you used to play a little brighter than you personally like for your stage sound, so that people can hear your attack a little bit. So some thoughts on that. And also just a little practice tip. Practice with a real bright setting. That way you will really kind of naturally develop better technique because you're like hearing your attack, you're hearing all the nuance with your fingers, uh, and all that. So playing with a real bright tone and practice, and then when you play for fun or play a gig, play more along the lines of the tone that you do like yourself. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to wrap up here for today. So started a little bit early. I hope folks enjoy the rewatch. I try to keep this entertaining and fun for everyone. And like I said, if you haven't already, do like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great practice session if you get one in, and we'll see you next time.